Studio, we're pleased to welcome now, it's the Secretary of State of the great state of Mississippi, Michael Watson. Mr. Secretary, what's going on?
Man, all is well. I'm actually on the coast today. Just stepped out of a elementary school. I'm one of the sharks today on Shark Tank, so they're pitching their business ideas for the fifth grade gifted class down in East Central. So it's been a fun morning so far, but glad to be on with you.
Man, that is fantastic. I love to hear about stuff like that happening in the schools. That sounds like a bunch of fun. Good for you. All right, so we are within 3 weeks of a big-time election coming up November 5th. Absentee voting underway in the state of Mississippi. Give us an update on that.
Yeah, so we've had about 60,000 roughly requested thus far, and that includes folks that are coming in as well as folks who are requesting by mail. So that number, it's I'd rather be much higher. Obviously, we saw back in 20 a big rush with mail-in, but contrary to what a lot of people thought, it kind of settled down after that. So the numbers have not increased as much as people would have, I guess, expected. We kind of saw, COVID clearly made people want to absentee vote a little more. But those numbers are a little low, so I encourage everyone to start paying more attention and make sure if they're going to be away on election day that they have plans to vote absentee.
So explain the process in the state of Mississippi. How do you qualify to vote absentee? Because in the state of Mississippi, you do need a justification, right, a so-called excuse.
That's right. So there are 8 reasons that you can vote absentee in person, and then there are 5 that you can vote absentee in mail. I encourage folks to go to y'allvote.ms, y'allvote.ms, and it breaks down each and every one of those excuses and the reasons why. So I think it's important that everybody is aware of the process, and that's one of the reasons, Gerard, that we did our Elections 101 campaign, where we were really educating Mississippians on that process.
Yeah.
I believe once you know more about elections and how they work, you feel a little more comfortable engaging in that, so I hope folks are paying attention there.
Good. All right, so we've got some volunteers, do we not, from the state of Mississippi that are heading to the areas that were ravaged by the recent hurricanes that are going to provide some assistance to those in need. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that's one of the great things about Mississippi. We saw that early on in the legislature and actually added our first responders to our UOCAVA voting provision. So UOCAVA is for our uniformed and overseas citizens, so the military folks who are on bases in other parts of the world, as well as citizens who are traveling abroad, based on with work or you name it. And so the legislature had great foresight there and added our first responders. So we saw this back in 20, if you'll remember. We had a hurricane right before the election there. So I partnered up with Mississippi Power and Entergy and our co-ops, you name it. And we were able to get a lot of those folks who were, no matter if they were on the side of a power pole or they were out somewhere doing some other type of work to respond and help others, where they could access their ballot via UOCAVA. So they can talk to the circuit clerks. It's called a federal postcard application, Gerard, and you can get one on our website or you can get one on a federal website. You send that into your circuit clerk, and they will help you vote. So really important, and matter of fact, after that, we led a national effort through the National Association of Secretaries of State to get other states to add that to their UOCAVA provisions as well. So Mississippi is actually a leader in this space.
That's good. Well, what about, folks hear this a lot, ballot harvesting? Can you explain what it can be done in the state of Mississippi that I guess might be defined or construed as so-called ballot harvesting, and what you can't do?
Yeah, so the legislature, thank goodness, we work with them to ban ballot harvesting in Mississippi. And I'll tell you a worst-case scenario, and the things that you hear about are these folks that go out and they understand, who's a registered voter, and they'll show up at their house and they'll say, hey, I'd love for you to request an absentee ballot. Oh, by the way, I'm going to help you fill it out, and here's your 6-pack of beer, or here's your, whatever, to try to persuade them to vote a certain way. And then they take their ballots, they gather them all up, and they turn them in. So, that's the fear when it comes to mail-in balloting, that folks are going to take advantage of ballot harvesting. Unfortunately, Gerard, as you know, this is legal in several states.
Right.
So I appreciate the legislature of Mississippi banning that here.
And that's really what I wanted to get out there, is that in some states it's fully legal. And so I know we may complain about it because it could affect, obviously, the outcome of the election. In the state of Mississippi, it's not legal. You can assist someone, though, can you not, Mr. Secretary? If you've got an infirm person and you're a family member, you can assist them, can you not, by getting the ballot in their hand? getting it delivered to them?
That's exactly right. You can assist them. So, perfect example in nursing homes. Sometimes you'll have folks that go into nursing homes. By the way, we have seen some unfortunate things happening in nursing homes over the years, but they can request help. They can request those ballots, and they'll come in, as well as folks who go into the precinct. If you've got some kind of ADA issue, then you need some help with voting, folks can assist you there as well. So, I hate when people come up and they try to say, well, you're just trying to make it harder on people to vote. No, we aren't.
Yeah.
We're trying to follow the law and make sure that there is integrity in the process. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. And there's ways of ensuring those who are institutionalized or infirm that are not disenfranchised. They're qualified, eligible to vote. There's ways of ensuring that they get to cast their ballot. We have members of our military that are Mississippians that are stationed all over the world. We want them to have the opportunity to vote as well.
Yeah, and when you think about that, the UOCAVA piece, adding our first responders, you're expanding and making it easier for people to vote. So, when we hear this concept of harder to cheat and easier to vote, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
How do we find ways to make it easier for people to vote? And that's what we've done. So we don't just talk about it, Gerard, we actually do it.
Let's talk about Georgia ruling that just announced yesterday, I believe, talking about certifying the vote counts, even if there's suspected fraud. Can you explain that?
I've not seen the latest from Georgia. I know there are a bunch of questions going on over there. One of the things that I've tried to tell Mississippians is, you rest assured, we've got a great process here.
Yeah.
There won't be questions. And thank the Lord, a lot of people kind of laugh at this. We aren't one of those states that's going to be in the crosshairs on election night. That said, I will reach out. I'm the incoming president of the National Association of Secretaries of State. So I'll be talking to all of the secretaries and any kind of help that they may need. I'm going to be happy to try to get in on the ground and help them. So we're going to be keeping close eyes on that. It's clear we'll be watching Georgia, we'll be watching Pennsylvania, we'll be watching those that are going to be very close on Election Day. But happy to assist them as well.
So, we always got to talk about it, and that's cleaning up those dead-gum voter rolls. There's been some states have attempted to do that. The DOJ has stepped in and said, no, you can't, such as in Texas. You and I have had this discussion every time you come on, and I think it bears repeating, but we know our voter rolls aren't perfect, but we're sort of limited on what we can do to clean them up.
We are, and I'll tell you one of the things that I'm really proud of. We saw some partnerships that we could take with other states, and we started with Alabama. And so basically we're able to compare our voter registration rolls. And Alabama and Mississippi had 7,000 folks who matched, meaning they're registered in Alabama and they're registered in Mississippi. So we've expanded that partnership to Louisiana, to Arkansas, to Tennessee, to Florida, working on Georgia as well. And as we can get these comparisons and make sure that we're cleaning up the rolls between states, it just adds another dimension to us, making sure that our rolls are as clean as they possibly can be. So
are you able, are our elections commissioners in the counties, Mr. Secretary, are they allowed to remove a voter from their rolls once they determine, you've moved, you're in another state?
Well, so there's a couple questions about that, and obviously there's a process that we got to follow through federal law.
Yeah.
But there are reasons once people, you can call them and they want to surrender it, and you can immediately do it. So that's the second part of it, though, Gerard, and I'm glad you brought that up. We've got to have commissioners who are willing to do their job.
Yep.
And for folks who are listening, you make sure you check you can go online to our website, Mississippi Secretary of State's website. Every month, you can check those voter registration rolls and the numbers. And, when we came in, and you and I have talked about this 100 times, 43 of our 82 counties had 90% or above. 7 counties had 100% or above of voting age population. Yeah, so make sure you're checking up on your counties and holding your election commissioners accountable.
Final question. We're up against a break, and I have to let you go. But, the process of applying to be a voter, the voter registration application, you simply check some boxes and sign and say that you attest that you are a citizen. But there's really no vetting required or done or mandated by law after that, is there?
So when they come in, if they're going in and they're doing it in person, they can bring some type of proof of residency.
Okay.
And then on the back end, we do check them against DPS, so the Department of the Public Safety. Okay. There's a process through which we can check them to make sure that they are citizens of the United States. Secondly is what we passed in the legislature to make sure that if it shows up that they may not be a citizen, they've got to come in and prove their citizenship before they're ever added to the voter roll. So that second layer is so important.
Okay.
And I'm really, really glad we have that.
Okay. So do you not think we need any additional law? Got about 30 seconds left to sort of tighten that up. Are you comfortable with that?
I'm really comfortable where we are,
Okay.
George.
Okay.
I think we've done a great job on that and appreciate the legislature.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that because I wasn't sure. I just knew you signed your name and checked the boxes and didn't know what happened after that, but I appreciate the explanation.
It's called DPS Verify, that first step.
Okay. Makes sense. All right, Mr. Secretary, appreciate you calling in and providing that input. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Have a good one.
We're coming right back, folks, in the Element Wealth